welcome back to another episode of Ill Eagle Culture Brands Talk. I am your host, John Ostos, aka Ill Eagle CEO, and something you haven't seen in a long time, just me and my counterpart, Dion 2-Cup Larry.
Yeah, I've been really putting on with that nickname.
You've been out there banging it hard or what? Yeah,
banging 2 cups.
Just throwing it up or what?
Yeah, everyone's seeing it.
2 cups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I broke my last shaker cup, which was like the OG H9 Nutrition shaker cup that we used to have, and I literally put it in my seat next to me in my car, and then threw my bag right on top of it with my computer and everything in it. So cracked it. And that was pretty disappointing, but now I got one that has the Hulk on it that's shredded. So I don't know. I think that fits me just as well.
The Hulk, a shredded Hulk.
A shredded Hulk, yeah.
It's probably an identical image.
Yeah, it's literally just like he's green and I'm not green. So really, that's the only difference.
Wow. Well, way to represent. Yeah. So, man, we're coming off a pretty long streak of having guests on the show, first of all. So we haven't done a podcast in a few weeks. It's been crazy. Yeah. And this is probably one of the least important things that we've been doing in the recent time, I think, by comparison, but definitely still important. So we agreed it was time to get on and at least talk some shit. Let's recap kind of what we've done, the discussions we've had, the guests that we've had on, and then kind of talk about moving forward a little bit, where we go from here and what we plan to do.
Yeah. Yep. I was looking back today on some of the podcasts we did. Obviously, we had our last one with Tim Johnson, MMA, military and farmer, local. All these people are pretty much local. We had Mark Grothy. We had Garrett Query. We had Rock Solid Ross from the gym.
Yes.
We had probably the most popular Cody Mauk. We had just you and me, and then Marshall Johnson.
And Marshall Johnson, yeah.
Yep.
Now, I just want to point something out here about the Cody Mauk one, because one thing that I think people don't understand is it's not that Cody's more popular, and I know he'll argue that that's because he's more popular, but the value of consistency is so real. Like, the ones that you would think would have blown up because of the content and because of who the person was, for example, the Tim Johnson one, might have been a little too edgy for him to keep sharing and really promote it. Yeah. But the difference was Cody promoted the hell out of his episode with us, man. He pushed it. He had a goal, and he went to achieve that goal by continuing to do the work to get to that point. And in turn, he has, by hundreds, the most viewed podcast
and
with us so far.
He surpassed his own goal. I think he was shooting for 500.
400 was his initial goal. Yeah. And he's at over 600 now,
623 views is what it was at. And so he hit 400, and he was like, all right, I got to get 500. He's messaging us, and he hits 500 like very quickly after that. And I was like, Cody, you just got to get to 600. So he's outdone it for himself. So I'm excited to have him back on when he gets back into town. That's going to be a good one.
Yeah. I have a feeling he'll come on regularly when he's back in town. We'll see. But it was fun, man. We talked about such a wide array of different things. I think one of the most common things in all of our topics of discussions probably was politics a little bit. There's just so much of it going on in the world right now. And so many different varying opinions. I think for the most part, everyone we talked with shared the same views that we did on all that stuff. But, oh man, it's been a fun journey so far, I'd say. Podcasting, as everyone knows, this isn't what we do. This isn't our thing. It was just something we decided to add in and have some fun with, and kind of a way for us to voice our opinion, or say our versions of the stories of certain scenarios without arguments and things of that nature. And then people could do whatever they want with it from there.
Yeah.
But we're gaining traction. I think we have over 100 subscribers right now.
Yeah.
Which is cool. So we're almost famous.
Almost.
100 subscribers. Famous. Yeah, we're almost famous. So
it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, watch out for us.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I notice, and especially since we're at the gym for long periods of time, and people come up to you and they're like, and myself, I guess I'll speak for, they'll just be like, good, that podcast is dope. And I'm like, thank you, I appreciate it. Like, I don't even expect some of these people to watch, but it's very fun to know that people are watching and enjoying the content we're trying to put out, and especially because you're putting so much time into editing and putting these up, it's good to know that time's not just being wasted and people see what's going on.
Yeah.
And they see who you truly are and who I am through the podcast, because obviously everyone has their preconceived notions of who we are, and that's originally what we kind of talked about on the podcast. So
yeah. I think that's kind of what it started out with. It was like, hey, we've never given our version of the story of all the weird stuff that's going on, and as far as rumors and whatnot, and then we did it and we left it.
Yeah,
it's behind us, and we don't need to touch on none of that no more, because our both point of views are out there if anyone cares. For the most part, I think it was at such a low level. Probably none of it was necessary, but at least we got it off our chest, or me for sure. I got it off my chest, said what I wanted to say about what my truth was, and then people can do with it whatever they want. From here, where do we go, right? We called it a modcast, and that was because we wanted to be able to do more than just sit here and talk about things all the time. We wanted to get more interactive. I think that's what we do next.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how interactive, and maybe you guys can give us some suggestions, but I'm thinking like some of our interviews could take place in the gym.
Yeah.
Some of our episodes at least can take place in the gym, and then we can have some dialogue afterwards or in between, or kind of what do they call it, voiceover during the training sessions. I don't know. There's other different things we can do, but I want to try to keep it all related to what we do for a living,
for sure,
at the very least, in terms of when we do more of a modified style podcast.
Yeah, I really like the idea of going into the gym and kind of getting our members involved a little bit. Like, we could go and do what's your worst
phone interview.
Yeah,
right. Like, we just hold the phone and we're just like, okay, so tell me,
what's your worst experience with a pre-workout that you took? Like, I'm sure we'll get a lot of pretty interesting stories from that. I've had some funny encounters myself with pre-workouts, so it would be cool to see. Or like, what's your most embarrassing gym fail? Like, that would be a good one. I know Marshall Johnson would have a good story for that. He has at least 2 or 3. You know, I have one from that I told, everyone knows. So, I mean, that's funny. That's funny to see to me.
There is some good stuff like that. And we just had one happen today. I don't know if you know. I don't want to tell the story for her, but Bree had one today. It sounded like it was a pretty nasty little spill, but yeah. But yeah, those are always fun. There's all kinds of, random. I remember over the years, man, I've seen multiple people fly off treadmills.
Yeah.
One dude didn't realize that when he stepped off the treadmill, he didn't actually pause it. He just stepped off of it, and he was talking to a dude, and he was like, all right, bye, and turned around and stepped on it, and the sucker just shot him. He just like did a couple somersaults, and we've got, or we saved some of those videos from back in the day. Probably not anymore. I'm sure they've been filtered out, but yeah, we've seen some pretty crazy stuff.
I feel like we got to share the one Marshall one off that new back machine we got.
Oh, the Arsenal, the low to high one,
because it could happen to anybody. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, so we have a low mid back row. It's a adjustable
multi grip,
multi grip. And Marshall was sitting down on it. We just got it maybe a couple days ago, and he has it loaded up and everything. He's like trying to grab it, and he's like, this doesn't feel right. And so he tries to adjust the seat, but he's still sitting on it. And when he adjusted the seat, it basically folded him out of it.
It was the chest pad of the seat. Yeah.
Which goes forward.
It goes forward and backward. Yeah.
Up and down. Yeah. So he fell right out of it.
That's right. He pulled the chest pad all the way out and fell backwards with it. That's right.
Yeah.
Which is a design flaw, Arsenal.
It is, definitely. That's dangerous.
Yeah, it's a huge design flaw. I love Arsenal equipment. People don't believe this, but I've been advocating for Arsenal since a long fucking time, and telling other gyms that's what they should put in their facilities. We finally do it, and I'm so unimpressed.
Yeah.
I think that it's a lacking design concept, and for the most part, they have a lot of weird little bits and pieces that are on their units that just fall off all the time and don't stay on, and there's clicking and hinging issues and noises in them, and like that back machine, I explained how many different flaws. It clicks every time you use it when
the seat
rocks back and forth. He's like, I've never heard of that. When I brought it to their attention, he's like, I never heard that issue before.
Weird.
I'm like, really? Never. Then I watch a video of someone training at Dragon's Lair in Vegas, and the dude's on the back machine. And he's like, click, 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 click. And I'm just like, no way. This is common. There's no way we got the only arsenal pieces of equipment that do all these things that are wrong. You know, like, or those, I don't know what they call them, but where the seats adjust to come in and out, there's these little plastic spacers in there. And those things are always popping out, and they're all over the gym floor and shit all the time. And I'm always like, damn, this belongs in here, right? We should have fixated it in here somehow.
Yeah, the one thing I can say I like the most is probably the pendulum squat. That thing is pretty unbeatable.
Yeah. Their machines are dope. Don't get me wrong. Like the design concepts are cool.
Yeah.
But the actual design work for the concept, there's just a bunch of flaws.
I remember that.
Yeah. There's a lot of little things wrong with it. The little caps that go on the ends of all the handles, those are all popping off all the time. You know, like.
But you can't even blame them. That's so many companies like.
But why use those?
Yeah, that's true.
That's what
they should have came out with something better.
Like those have been doing that for years on equipment. So why even bother with weird stuff like that? You know. Yeah. Or another thing I noticed was with their benches. This is not an Arsenal trashing session, but what's real is real. So, but their benches, like their dumbbell benches that we use, those, the material on them, the way they're designed, like the squareness of them or something. I feel like when people put weight on them, like they sit on the benches enough and they have enough weight on them, it breaks the material down and they split on the sides real soon. Like within a month or two of having them, they split down the side. So I don't know how you fix something like that. Maybe it's too tight or not designed correctly or whatever, but it's a flaw.
I like the width of those though, compared to the old ones we had. Ours were like kind of angled and then square rounded at the top.
Yeah.
These ones are like all the way square the whole way through, and they also have like a couple more pinholes for adjusting the angle. So I do like that, but yeah, they can rip pretty easy. Yeah,
it's strange.
But the other one more thing I do have an issue with from them, the shoulder press, the seat is tiny. It's absolutely tiny. Like the non weight, not the one that flips back with the weight, but the one that
the 90-degree bench, right?
Yeah, 90 degree bench. It's just like the seat is so small. Like you can hardly even be on it, especially if you're gonna try and press something heavy. It's like, I'm gonna slip off this. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, damn.
It's pretty rough. So I don't. I usually just do it on the bench.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to think about what equipment to start getting from there. I mean, Hammer Strength still has so many pieces. Yeah. If you want to get old school, the Cybex and things like that, it still have really good pieces that we don't have.
Cybex is dope.
Prime Fitness, I know, is a dope brand, and they have some pretty ergonomic designed equipment. I would love to try some of their stuff in the future.
Yeah, some custom stuff that we've still wanted. That
we still have a lot of custom work to get done. Which haymakers, we need to get at you.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one. I like the idea of the things that we had in place. So that'll be fun.
So I know we said we're gonna recap kind of all the stuff that we've talked about, and maybe as a whole we will do that. I just can't think of anything specifically that wasn't hashed out already in terms of the conversations we had with all the guests that we had on. But Elon Musk just bought Twitter.
Yeah.
So I wanted to quickly bring that up just because it's something cool to talk about, because people are losing their shit.
I know, so many.
It's funny. It's funny because what we're seeing is like now in the news, right? So let's just say, for example, the news, they're coming out and they're saying everything that they use Twitter for is now a potential to be used for. And it's almost like they're saying, hey, everything we pretended we weren't doing, we did. And now that Elon's not on our team, and you know what I mean, we should be prepared for him to use Twitter the wrong way. Yeah. And it's just like, well, wait a minute, though, because that's the whole point of him buying Twitter was that you guys have been using it wrong the whole time. Censorship and, allowing hate and all these different things. And now they're saying like, oh, this could be easily manipulated to, erase potential candidates in elections and things like that going on in the future and silence them so they can't have a voice. And then that way, whoever he's in favor of can win elections in the future because they'd have more of a voice. And it's just like, wait, didn't you guys just do that for like the last 4 years?
But the thing is what he said, and I mean, I don't know. We can only speculate what he's gonna do, But he said the goal is to have the people that want to share their side, and then the people that are against that to share their side as well. And you just have to be okay with that. Yeah,
and they're against equality. Yeah, they want censorship to be one dimensional in their favor, like it was, and that's why everyone's losing their shit. Yeah, they're also losing their shit because and I want to say the right or the Republican side, so to speak, are the ones doing this, and they're doing it on purpose, but it's working. Everyone's saying that Elon is the first African American owner of one of the biggest social media sites in the world now, and he is African American.
That's true.
But they're trying to make a race issue again. They're trying to like race bait, and they're like saying, "Hey, Black America, we need to get off Twitter," and this and that's just like, well, I thought we already had Black Twitter. So why does anyone care in Black culture about Elon's Twitter? It blows my mind. It just goes to prove like there's always this weird agenda where they want to race bait us into fulfilling their agenda for them, attacking the people that they want to attack for them. And all they have to do is simply say Black issue.
Yeah, I mean, if people fall for that, though, it's just like...
But they are.
They are. It's true.
They're all over. The celebrities and all the people you would expect to jump on the bandwagon and talk this shit are talking the shit.
Yeah.
And it's just like, come on, you guys. Like, are we really going to bring the race card into this again? Because whenever you're losing a fight, you're on the ground covering your head and screaming, race issue, race issue. It's just like, accept your losses. You had your chance and you failed miserably, and now it's under ownership of somebody who's going to allow fair and equal speech to happen, and all of a sudden they're like, no, that's bad.
I mean, we'll look at what they did in the past 2 years to try and deflate the racism issue. Like, I didn't see anything or feel anything or hear anything. Like, I still feel the same way I felt 2 years ago. So
you know how they ended that issue that we were seeing too?
They elected who they wanted to elect.
Well, besides that, but you know how they got everyone to stop, like the riots and the looting and all that.
How?
They stopped talking about it.
That's true.
They stopped pushing the agenda and telling people to go. And now they're mad because there's not enough police to stop the madness that's happening out in the streets of places like California and things of that nature, where they're running into stores and, you know, smashing grabs and all that crazy stuff that's happening.
That was a crazy trend
they designed
of people, like 7 people or so, young people too.
They're
like
still
really
doing it though.
They're
robbing people in their driveways right now all over California, bro.
Yeah.
You park your car and bring your groceries, and they run up from behind with guns and take your cars and your purses and everything. It's just like, this is what they wanted minority America to behave like.
Yeah.
Once they were done fulfilling their agenda, they left minority America to fend for themselves doing this nonsense, and now they're like, oh, we need police reform.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh,
they said, let's get rid of them.
Which is it? Which you want police? You don't want police? But the problem is now they're the ones getting robbed too.
Yeah,
it's not one dimensional. They're not just attacking someone to fulfill their agenda. They're doing whatever the fuck they want out there in the minority world, and they don't like it no more.
Yeah,
they're like, no, wait a minute. Now we're susceptible to this happening to us because we're not controlling it this time. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, well, here we are.
I saw a meme the other day, speaking of Elon Musk buying Twitter. It was a meme of a guy who commented on his Twitter and said a racist slur, and then said, "I'm back, yeah." And I just laughed. I was like, "That's so messed up." But I mean, I guess.
What do you mean a racist slur?
Like, he said the N-word, and then he said, "I'm back."
Oh, Elon.
No, just a random person.
Oh, okay.
It was like a random person.
Oh, because he came back on Twitter because he wasn't on there for so long. Yeah, okay. That's funny.
It was just messed up.
I've seen quite a few people do that, post and they're just like,
or like the Elon Musk tweet that everyone's been remaking and saying, "Oh, I'm gonna buy Planet Fitness and get rid of the Lungalars."
Those are good too. I like those ones. I like the Planet. I shared the Planet Fitness one. Another one I saw was the. Now that I bought Twitter, I'm gonna buy Facebook.
Yeah, the Facebook one is good too.
And delete it. That's probably a good idea, though. Honestly,
it would be.
Yeah,
it would be.
But yeah, people are losing their shit over it because what they were doing for the past several years is now about to be done on them. Or in what was the retrospect that someone gave? Like, they're mad because they no longer have their one-sided agenda. They actually have to face the music of people who oppose them now. Yeah. Right? Because no one's going to delete the opposition anymore.
Do you know if Donnie J's on there or no?
I don't. I did see that they said Trump's not coming back.
Yeah.
Or he made some kind of announcement saying, yeah, I'm not coming back to Twitter. I also saw Elon post, and I don't know if it was a real one, and I didn't verify this one.
Everything's so hard to see.
I know, but it looked like Elon posted something saying that Truth Social is doing better right now than Twitter and TikTok.
Oh.
It's like number one, and then Twitter and TikTok are like 2 and 3 for social media apps right now.
Okay.
Which is strange because, as far as I understand, True Social ain't even active yet or something. They had like, I signed up for it and I'm on a waiting list to be accepted.
Weird.
So it's like, that's strange. Facebook never did that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But yeah, they say that Trump's going to get active on his Truth Social website and not come back to Twitter at all.
Yeah, that stuff's all weird.
We'll see, yeah.
I don't know where we're going to be in the next 2 years.
Yeah, I'm signed up to it because I want to see what's going on over there.
Yeah, both sides.
I want both sides. Yeah, I want to know it all, and then I can form my opinion and ride the neutral ground or whatever the happy medium is, I guess, so to speak. You know, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I mean, because something's going to have to go down within the next 2 years to have a decision be made about who's going to be president or what they're going to do. Because imagine we elect this old man that's in office right now. Imagine we re-elect him. There's no way. He can't even speak. It's bad. It's bad.
The fact that we haven't even gotten rid of this guy yet blows my mind. I'll be damned if they let him run again.
Yeah.
He's so gone. Yeah. It's like gotten worse by the year, bro. He's just declining, and they're running him like a fucking puppet now.
Yeah.
It's sad to see, and it's weird that anyone still supports this. Like, even if you like Biden, you have to be looking at the situation now and going, "Oh my God, this is sad."
Yeah.
Never mind, you don't have to call him dumb or incompetent or a racist and a bigot and all those things and probably a pedophile and all these things that he is. You don't have to call him none of that.
Yeah.
But you do feel sorry for his incompetence and his incapabilities, right? Like, you look at him now and go,
in front of the world.
Yeah, you're definitely going, okay, yeah, this is bad. Someone should get him out of there.
Yeah.
You have to be. Otherwise, you're completely delusional and you've been brainwashed because you're still hung up on the fact that the orange man bad. And never mind what's going on with Biden. What about Trump, who's no longer relevant in this fucking country for any decision making? So, like, take your focus off that. Open your damn eyes. Snap out of whatever hypnosis you're under and realize, like, regardless of how you feel about Biden, he's so bad for this country, and he's in such bad shape from a cognitive standpoint.
Yeah, and I mean, where we're headed is just like we've got food shortages on the come up here. Like,
but do we?
I mean, we're gonna
worldwide food shortages.
Yeah, that's
worldwide.
Crazy.
So who stopped farming?
Ukraine and Russia. It's Russia's fault.
We got everything from them, though.
Everything.
And this is what a perfect setup, right? If you wanted to dupe the world or dupe your own country, never mind all our own resources we have here. We outsource all of those resources so that when there's a bad relationship, we could blame somebody else for the lack of, right? So we don't need oil from the places we have it, but we won't use it. Even with the gas prices, no, we'll just get it from Venezuela. Why? Because then later on we could beef with Venezuela and fill our pockets with shit tons of money from inflation and everything else. And you guys, it's just a matter of when you guys finally fold and give us the control we're looking for.
Exactly. Yeah. No, but they said, I was reading up on it. They said grain is particularly outsourced from Ukraine and Russia. Mm-hmm. So that's where we're going to see shortages in like bread and things like that. So I don't know.
What about the chicken?
They said the chicken, there's bird flu going around again.
Sure. Millions of birds they had to take out to provide eggs, right? Everything's higher.
Beef is crazy high right now.
Yes.
Already.
What about all the food plants all over the U.S. that are mysteriously burning up on fire?
That too. Yep.
Bro, this is intentional. They want to starve us. You know why? So they could feed us.
Yeah. Fuck, if I'm gonna eat some plant-based food though, I can't.
Okay, yeah. There's the other thing between Bill Gates and China buying up all the farmland in America, which shouldn't even be allowed. He's also one of the largest Impossible Meat plant owners, if I understand correctly. So, nobody's concerned about that.
Yeah, I don't want to.
The guy who owns one of the largest Impossible Meat, which is fake meat. He owns one of the largest Impossible Meat plants, and he's advocating that red meat is bad for climate control or some shit. But then he's buying up all the farmland.
Yeah, I mean,
Why?
Liver King's got it going on. He's smart. He's gonna be slaughtering people's animals and just
That'll be one of the first dudes they take out, bro.
Yeah, that's true.
Just bomb him, so he can't help nobody, and we're good.
But his house is huge from what I've seen on his social media.
Speaking of Liver King, let's get on this guy. This is a good topic, actually. Who the fuck is this guy, first of all? And where did he come from? And why does he have so much goddamn money if he's so naturally resourced?
Yeah.
The guy's flying private jets for fun.
Like when he popped up, though, he was already rich.
Right.
It looked
He had
like
this
so I was
giant house, tons of property, like very financially stable, it appears,
obviously able to get all this meat.
It's not affordable.
Yeah, it's
so
not
he's got the
affordable
money
at
to
all.
buy all that shit that he eats, right? Like the best of the best type shit.
Exactly.
What does he do for, like, where did he, if he's barely becoming famous, where did all that come from?
I have no clue.
Nobody knows what he does yet.
Yeah, that's weird. It's weird.
And where does he find time to do it?
if he had made money from something else, where is he finding that time?
Yeah,
That's
like
true.
where did all his money come from? And I always question. Like, I think it's dope. I think he's really cool. Like this natural,
too.
like caveman, like does everything, like the old, natural way, so to speak.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that. Like
There
like you
is, but
said,
how
yeah,
real is it?
It's not that real.
How did you get the ability to do all that?
Yeah.
What did you do? Like that's what because we don't know, and maybe it's out there and we just haven't looked, but I feel like if you don't right off the front, like understand where this person's financial capability comes from, and they're this like caveman, barefoot, raw meat eating type of person who doesn't believe in, he doesn't sleep on real beds. He doesn't like to wear shoes. He hardly wears a shirt ever. Like all these things about him. How did that person attain the financial stability that he has?
Yeah.
To be this person continuously. At some point, I feel like he had to have not been this person.
I think so.
And not believed all the things he believed in now, and then became, and then was like, wait a minute, I want to live differently.
I think somebody.
So
with
then how do you sustain after you realize that, though?
Somebody with a little power brought him into the situation. They basically created the situation for anybody who would be willing to do it.
You think so?
And he happened to be the guy that was like,
Because it's no wonder he got hella famous, right? Because, yeah.
I definitely think that's plausible. I watched a video on it that said somebody else basically made this idea and he fulfilled it, and they're working together. I should look and see who runs their supplement
I wouldn't
company.
put that kind of stuff past people, because I've had these thoughts about like weird things. Like one thing I identified the other day, and I think I was taking my cold shower when I identified this, was the number of people who now are doing cold showers and cold plunges for physical and mental benefit.
Tons.
Whose idea was it to start this?
Yeah, now they have the
Because anytime something becomes trendy, my first instinct is, who started this trend and why?
yeah.
What's the catch? Because why is everybody on that right now?
Yeah, they have there's a company called Cold Plunge. I'm pretty positive, like Cement Factory. He's been posting about it, but it's a tub you can have outside your house. I was looking at the prices. It's like for a one that you would put in the gym, like for everybody you commercial use, was like $8,000. So it's like an extra large tub with a cooler, gets it down to like 39 degrees. So if anyone wants to hop in there with me,
Damn. And it's a one person tub, I imagine, right? I was gonna say it's like the same cost as a sauna, but at least the sauna you can get a few heads.
yeah,
in
no, this one you're only getting one person in, I'm sure. So, but
yeah, I don't know. Is it that somebody has this plan to implement all these things to design the world a certain way, going forward? Because obviously we're going through a change, right? A shift in culture, or does it boil down to internet and social media making things happen so much faster or at such a rapid and mass pace?
Well, I think it's definitely who you can connect to, because like with those cold plunges, that company specifically, they're with Cement Factory, which he recommends it to all of their guys because there's obviously good health benefits to it, which they say it does decrease the ability to recover your muscles if you do it post workout right away. They say you should wait like 4 or so hours after to do your cold plunge. But C-Bum has it. He has the exact thing at his house. Like, I think
So this isn't some technological advance, though, is what I mean.
No.
So 20 years ago, how come everyone wasn't doing cold baths, cold shower? Like,
No one.
How come we didn't have science on this back then? Why
That's
now?
true.
It's not like a technological advances brought us to this state,
Yeah.
is it?
It's
Or
just
was
cold
it was it cryo?
That brought it
someone
up.
inventing cryo and made everyone go, oh hey, this is just the same as like a cold plunge, right?
That's my guess.
And then they just mass fucking marketed that concept, and you know how trendy the world is right now. You get a couple famous people to say this is what you do, and now everyone does it. But literally everybody does it.
That's true.
Everybody. And they tout it like, if you're successful, you do these.
Yeah.
Because that's what the successful mind does. I'm just like, oh shit, I'm gonna take a cold shower.
Before we get off that topic of Liver King, do you think he's natty or no?
No.
Currently.
No.
I
don't think he's natty.
Like I'm not saying lifetime natty. I'm saying, do you think he's currently natty?
Well, I guess that's really hard to judge.
Or like within the last 3 months, has he? Or we could even say last year. Has he? Do you think he's natty this past year?
No.
Yeah, me either. People say maybe he took stuff back in the day when he was younger, built that foundation, and now
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, and it's like
it doesn't work. You ever seen a guy who openly takes steroids come off steroids?
No.
It doesn't look like he used to take steroids last month, bro.
Yeah. No.
Let alone years later.
Yeah. I mean, that's like saying Jay Cutler, like Jay Cutler doesn't look like him.
Right. He didn't sustain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people who and Jay Cutler probably didn't even come off.
No, he did.
He probably came off a bunch of shit he doesn't need anymore.
Yeah, but there's no way.
That's the difference, right? Like, it does make a difference. Yes, you still have to do the work and do all that shit, and it still requires the time and the effort. But it does increase the results of the work. And if you're still doing the work and not doing the steroids, you're going to lose gains.
For sure. And he carries quite a bit of muscle mass. I mean, he's not very tall, but I saw his story the other day, which he's really good at marketing, like we had said, and this isn't knocking him or anything, but he said, what does Liver King eat for dessert? And he pulled out a big bone and he dipped it in some blood and he ate it. I was like, oh.
And you see, I saw one too where they said he had a bunch of beef tongue, and he was just like, they say that I don't really eat this stuff, but I do. And he took a bite and he's like, bite one of these, bite two, and he just took a few bites and he's like, see, I eat this stuff. And it's just like, why don't you just,
what about the rest?
Tear it up. Or when he says everyone in my family does, and then you watch his family, they always go.
That's the weird thing.
They take a bite and they look around like, and they just chew that one where he scarfs
and
his
then he
down.
turns it off.
Yeah, and then it goes away, and it's just like, I don't know, man. Like, I get it, and I wouldn't even be mad if he came out one day and was just like, hell no, we don't do that shit religiously.
I'm just making money.
This is all about money. I'd be like, hey, because you know one thing that people were writing, just like these whole like what do they call them, exhibition fights and shit, where these motherfuckers are making more money than real fights now.
Randos.
But like they just don't talk about the fact that they're acting, but at the end of the day, when they get called out, they're like, it's an act.
Yeah.
It's an act. We're entertainers. Look on social media. Look at all the popular YouTube channels and shit right now. It's people acting like there's drama in their lives. It's people pretending that things are happening that aren't really happening, right? Like you have a husband and a wife who have a YouTube channel and they have every experience in the world you can imagine that would seem like a real life scenario, but you're like, oh, they're acting. This is fake. Or, like these people don't have this much going on in their lives every single day, this extreme. You have to accept the fact they're acting. It's like wrestling, right? Motherfuckers are so into that, like WWE wrestling.
Yeah.
Some of them don't even like want to accept the fact that it's fake.
Yeah.
Or that it's, no, there's blood. It's like, yeah, okay. But like that punch could have been way worse.
Yeah. It's dangerous. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it's not.
It's practiced. It's rehearsed. It's orchestrated. It's designed, like there's a lot to it.
There's technique. Yeah. There's a technique to it to make it not be as bad.
They were saying Tekashi just did this. He had like, I don't know, a couple $1 million in cash or something like that. And everyone started calling him out right away saying it was fake. They could tell the bills weren't real or whatever. And he did an interview with somebody and basically, and I only read an article on this. I don't know if it's true, but they said that in the interview, he said, hey, look, at the end of the day, I'm a fucking entertainer. And obviously it worked because we're talking about it right now on the podcast, right? So like, that's what I do. I'm an entertainer. Basically admitting like, yeah, that was prop money.
Yeah. He just gave away like 1 million pesos to a Mexican family.
He's given $50,000 away a couple times.
Yeah,
now.
$50,000.
Yeah.
It was 1 million pesos.
Yeah.
He also just got 5 million views on his last Instagram post because I was interested in the beef that he had been going on.
Oh, with
Lil Durk, the fake Lil Durk. That kid's young.
Yeah, I know.
He's really young.
And people were calling him out on that video saying that they punked those
him.
because that they pressed him and shit for, right?
That's what they said.
Yeah, and then they were saying that he paid him, and then I think they came on and denied that they got paid for it. Or some shit.
I didn't hear anything
But
yet.
Tekashi posted a video of him handing the cash to the dude
in the elevator,
and the dude walking away with it. I was like, I don't know. So that's the thing, though. I think that we did this on purpose, like as a society, right? We designed everything to be confusing. Is it real or is it fake? I don't know. I can't tell what's an act anymore.
You really can't.
And that's what they want. That's perfectly designed programming.
Yeah.
We're not seeing real scenarios take place. We're seeing acting, and we've seen it a lot across the board. In fact, everything in the past few years has been a big act.
Definitely.
So it doesn't surprise me that celebrities, people who are supposed to be entertainers, are acting, and that's going to be their argument when they get caught. At the end of the day, they're going to be like, "Look, I'm an entertainer. What do you think we do for a living? How do you think we get paid?"
Think about the amount of money that I'm offered to do this, and then think, would you do that? Yeah.
So like, think of it this way. Like, think if we looked back and we're like, because see, I remember vividly back in the early 90s when Snoop Dogg was arrested for murder, before when he made the Murder Was the Case shit, right? So, and he beat that case, right? And it was really strange that he beat that case, to an extent. But now I look at it and I say, like, what if they've been doing this since forever, right? What if this is how they create? Hey, Snoop, you're about to be the next famous person. We're going to set up this fake like murder case scenario for you. You're going to go through this crazy trial. It's going to look like you're about to be dealt with, and then you're going to beat the case, and that's how you become.
Yeah.
Because as soon as that happened for Snoop Dogg, bro, he went household. And then him and Martha Stewart became homies. And I mean, you just like, is it realistically possible? Yes.
Yeah.
But he made millions off his relationship with her and millions of dollars off of that Murder Was the Case album that dropped coincidentally right after. You know what I mean? Like him and Tupac being America's Most Wanted and making that song while they were both dealing with big cases. These things that take place are strange.
Yeah.
And celebrities are coming out now and saying it's true. People are coming out and saying, yeah, you know, I've been outed, and so I'm going to speak my truth, and they're probably going to kill me.
Yeah, it's people,
Who's they?
People like Kanye West like that make me think, okay, there is something weird. He is a weird guy, but there's something weird going on.
Yeah, but they paint him to be the weird guy.
Yeah, and like that Netflix documentary made it seem like, okay, you understand where he came from, and like he wasn't that weird before. He was weird, but he wasn't that weird.
Well, he's highly medicated now,
which
he admits, right? Which, who knows what they're putting in his medication to fix him up, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I just don't trust stuff like that to begin with.
Yeah.
Especially when you're that high profile of a person. They're going to do whatever they can to destroy you.
Yeah.
To keep you from talking because he's saying a lot of weird shit. So they paint this picture in the media about him where it's just like, oh, he's just a fucking weirdo. So now every time we hear him say some shit, even though if you really listen to what he's saying, you could be like, yo, he's talking intelligently and very, very like coherently. He's competent as fuck. It just sounds crazy to us, the things he's saying, because they're far-fetched ideas or they're conspiracy theories and stuff. So who knows?
It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. We live in really strange times, that's for sure. Yeah.
We do.
What else? What else is going on? Let's see. Ukraine and Russia, that war is fake, so we don't have to go there.
I haven't heard anything on that like since like a month ago.
Let's see.
Like it just stopped.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're sending billions of dollars a month now to Ukraine as a result. And that president, I don't even remember his name, Zelensky, just came out and said that all nations should start preparing for a nuclear war with Russia. That was like 2 weeks ago, and I've heard nothing else since. And I saw it like on a small print story somewhere, and I never saw it again anywhere else. Like just weird stuff like that, where it's just like, okay, like being at war with Russia is no joke. It's no laughing matter. It's no social media, Twitter, Snapchat, fucking article post that never makes it to the news. If we were truly, truly in jeopardy of going to nuclear war with Russia, even in the slightest inkling, we would be in preparations like you don't even understand.
We probably wouldn't be doing a podcast right now.
And news media would be covering the fuck out of it because they would all be fearful of their lives.
Yeah. And they'd get the most views.
But if you take a look at what's going on, everything disastrous that could happen is coincidentally happening. World issues, wars everywhere. There's a meteorite headed for the Earth again.
The things coming back, the C word.
Yeah. The thing.
The Omarion.
We could talk about COVID.
Omarion. That's my favorite name for it.
It's just so crazy that the way that everything seems to be being played out right now.
Yeah.
You know, Antarctica's melting. Volcanoes are erupting that weren't supposed to erupt anymore. Like, you just name it, bro. It's happening.
Yeah.
The end of the world is being portrayed, but not. I don't think it's real.
No.
If we were truly facing the kind of times that they're trying to make it look like the end of the world and World War III is happening and all these disasters and everything, if we were truly facing these things, there would be so much more government concern and intrigue and preparations and
for sure,
and worry and discussion. But instead, no, we're just like, hey, we're supposed to be preparing for World War III with Russia and nuclear arms and all these things are supposed to be in play. And Biden's just like, yeah, but COVID, that wouldn't be real, bro.
No.
Like, that wouldn't be how it goes down if it was real.
Definitely not. And Russia wouldn't be the ones to take us over. It'd be freaking China. So
Russia would be the ones to destroy us with China. I think, though.
Yeah.
That's why they try to spin that story that way.
That's true.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's hard to say, man. There's a lot of weird things in play right now on this road, and I just don't know.
Yeah,
what
I don't
to think or believe anymore.
It's like you're like, oh, okay, we'll see what happens at the end of this year. It could get better, but then it's like I don't even see that this year. Like last year, I was like, oh, it's gonna get better. We got a president in chair now, so we're good. Like even though it's Joe Biden, I don't really care. We have somebody in there if they're gonna get rid of the BLM movement, however they do that, which is just not talking about it again, and we'll kind of go back to a more normal life. COVID has gone through and swept us already. Let's move on from that, and then now we're here, and it's worse than it was 2 years ago, except for we're not saying everyone's dying still, so it's very weird.
Well, why not?
I don't know.
That's weird, right?
Herd immunity.
Yeah.
The vaccine's really working.
They've had to go back and retract everything they've said since the beginning of time, and then they got to make up a new story in the process while they're doing that, and that's where they just lose me. I'm just like, okay, they're like, oh look, this isn't an issue anymore, but guess what else is happening? And it's just like, no, come on, you guys, like everything's happening right now. Seriously, all because of Trump. Come on.
But I mean, they did say after this happened, after we got through this pandemic, that we would go through this kind of a drought, which was to be expected because it happens every time there's something like this happening. But this is weird because they keep coming out with these news stories like the Russia-Ukraine thing, the food shortage. Like that's never really been
everything
thing
that they said would happen is coincidentally happening as a result. But every piece of it has looked like it had to be orchestrated to happen.
Yeah.
Like, sure, there's supposed to be food shortages, but why are they destroying the food?
Yeah.
Yes, there would be supply chain shortages, but why were they blocking the cargo?
Mm-hmm.
Why were they holding up everything? You know what I mean? You name it. These new strains. There's going to be new strains that will just come from this. You know, it'll just turn into
mutate.
It'll mutate and become something else. Yes, sure, that's supposed to be what we scientifically understand, but why did they have to create the drama behind it? They made it up.
Yeah.
Oh, this one's worse. No, they've actually gotten less. And in fact, that's how these things mutate. They get weaker and weaker, not stronger.
Yeah, or we get stronger.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know what to believe.
Yeah.
I don't know what to believe. I don't believe anyone in government. I don't give a damn if you're on the left or the right. I feel like they're all doing it together.
Yeah. That's why it's weird because it's like everyone's trying to look for that savior, but it's like, we're the people and we kind of just have to stick together in a sense, which we're very far from.
Mm-hmm.
So
whoever your God is, just pray to that.
Yeah.
Because we don't have a human savior. There's no one here on earth that's going to come in and save us besides us.
Yeah.
I think like if we really wanted this to be right, we as people could stand up and voice our opinion, do some things about it. I'm not trying to incite anything, but that's how it works.
Yeah.
That's how it's always worked in the history of the world. When things like this have happened and the people took the control back, it was because the people stood up against the tyranny.
Yeah. And I mean, we live in a good area for such a thing, for people to be together and stand together. We have small communities that are very tight knit. So I mean, compared to a lot of the other states in the U.S., like we're definitely lucky in a sense.
Oh, I agree.
So
we didn't have it nearly as bad as a lot of other states, even with COVID, and the restrictions and the mandates. Like it wasn't that serious, and I don't think it was even really truly enforced.
Yeah, we're big about small business though too, and a lot of them initially.
Well, thank God our governor owns some businesses in the community, so he's importantly are very actively treating it like it's important. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. Definitely, we're gonna definitely see what goes on in this next year, and the year after that. Both gonna be very crucial.
You think it's gonna get worse or start to get better?
This year's gonna be bad. Yeah. There's something's gonna happen bad. Obviously,
like the rest of this year. You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. This is gonna be a rough one for sure. Next year will be just as bad, if not worse. Obviously, because we're gonna have to go through like re-election time again.
Sure.
At the end of the year, and then it should get better. So unless they say we're in like tough times and we're not going to elect, or we don't fix our election system, which we won't in that amount of time. So I don't know. It's probably all going to be pretty bad, but best thing we can do is try and make as much money and have as much fun as we can. Well, so
that's hard to do right now too.
It is hard to do. It is hard to do.
But we're after it. We're trying, just like everyone else is. It's so hard to complain. I tell everyone all the time.
Exactly.
Especially us in the retail business, we feel it, man. And I know I've heard people say like, well, other supplement companies are doing great. I'm like, yeah, but other supplement companies that aren't in a 200,000 population demographic probably.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's a small percentage of people out of 200,000 people that take supplements. That number is already small. So like you let something like this economy come into play with all the supply chain shortages, all the inflation, all the lack of manufacturing, the lack of employees and people who want to work, and the lack of people doing a good job when they do work, the shipping issues that we're having across the board. Like you add all those in as factors to the already low number of foot traffic we have in our smaller community. And yeah, it hurts us, you know what I mean? And I guarantee even the big places, they're hurting, just maybe not quite as bad because they have millions of people where we only have tens of thousands that we cater to in a small community like this. So we feel those effects. We're seeing it happen more, and it's becoming more difficult for us to operate. But we know that everybody is dealing with it, so it's really hard to be mad, and upset. You know what I mean? Like I've seen several businesses announce they're having to close for business and this and that, and everyone consensusly has been like, we don't feel like we failed because we did everything we could and we did everything the right way. This is just a really hard thing to beat.
Yeah.
So the fact that we're still standing says a lot about what we've done, even though in our eyes we've done so little. We've done enough to stay moving, stay floating, and we're about to make some more changes now and try and pivot and stay afloat.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel bad for the people who can't and who are struggling to do so. I also think it's a really bad time for everyone to be working against each other in this in this sense. Like this isn't about my beef with you or your beef with me type shit, or vice versa, or anyone else that has beef with other people in business. It's time to show some unity.
Yeah,
it's time to like say, look, man, this is a matter of saving America, not saving your business or my business. Mm-hmm. It's legit a matter of saving America. And I think the sooner that we can get on board with that kind of thought process, I think we'll see things turn around for the people, for the better, But until that happens, man, I think we're going to keep seeing this decline and waiting on the government to pretend or to implement something that fixes it.
Yeah. I mean, well, only time can tell, I guess,
Yeah.
So, but I do want to just cap off with some of the stuff that we did go through. So, I mean, a main discussion that we talked about was obviously our military, and we kind of talked about a lot of political stuff already. But our military, and since neither of us are in the military, obviously we don't have like the in-person views, but the strength is there. We have the people there to push for the right things, and individuals wanting to stay in even though they may be taken out or forcibly pushed out of the military. It's important for those people to stay in and fight. Obviously, we both agree with that. We have a culture in the world that is creating very weak-minded people, and I'm not talking in the military. I'm just speaking in general.
Well, there's a lot of them in the military, and most military people will agree with you.
Yeah, and that's destroying us for sure. Everyone wants to stay like toxic masculinity, but no masculinity is also very toxic. So with that being said, I mean, we need to come and look at ourselves in the mirror and say, okay, we're creating these soft individuals that can't handle what the world has to bring them, causing us to have more issues like anxiety, stress, depression, things like that. So, I mean, definitely, that was a tough topic for us to all go through and pick out, because we are all alpha, I would say, for sure. And we didn't really bring on anyone that isn't alpha, so that was tough. I don't know. Yeah. We didn't really get another side from that one. How do you feel about that?
I don't know if there is another side that's got an argument.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, who would we bring on, and what would they say in defense?
I don't know. I couldn't even think of it.
When you can't yell at soldiers in boot camp anymore, and you have to give them passes to not work as hard and things of that nature, what are we preparing them for? Mm-hmm. Certainly not war. If you're so easily offended and hurt by words and pressure and shit like that, what are you going to do when it comes time to face your enemy in a war, in a combat zone?
Yeah, when you're hearing shots fly next to your face.
What are you going to do? You're going to call the government and say, hey, can you help? They're hurting me.
Yeah.
No, motherfucker, you are the help. That's why you're there. You're there to prevent the hurt. You're the help. Like, you don't have a fucking, like, that's, you got to breed these people a certain way. Why do you think they made Navy SEALs and fucking Green Berets, bro? Mm-hmm. Special forces. Because you need an elite set of human beings that have zero fucks to give.
Yeah.
Aren't sensitive, and bullets could ricochet off of if needed. Like, you need that mentality type person. We're not creating that in the military. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we see the special forces and Green Berets and fucking Rangers and SEAL teams and all that diminish, because going forward, there's not going to be any motherfuckers that want to volunteer to do that shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, all the dope ass dudes in the military are bailing right now. They're like, fuck this. I don't want to be a part of this nonsense and this weak ass military that they're trying to build here. We're supposed to be the most powerful country in the world. And now we're catering to simple-mindedness and weakness and emotions and things like that's not what the military is designed for. If you're that's the kind of person you are, you can't be in the military.
Yeah.
Don't change the rules. Just don't join. Don't make it fit you, just like they're doing with everything else. They're trying to weaken us as human beings, bro. That's all there is to it. It's not a matter of offensiveness or anything like that. They want a weak society because that's easy to control.
That's true.
Plain and simple.
It's like applying for a job you've never done, and you're like, no, but I can do this.
I really want to work in your gym, but I just, like, I can't lift more than like 20 pounds.
Yeah.
So is that going to be cool? It's like, well, no, because the whole fucking purpose of you working here is to lift heavy shit, dude. Like, I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah.
It's
just like
the majority of our plates are 45 pounds. You're fucked if you want to work here. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. Why join the military, dude? Go be a Boy Scout leader.
Yeah.
If you want sensitivity, you want people to cater to you and maybe touch you, go join the Boy Scouts. But if you want to be in the fucking military, you're going to have to get a military fucking mind.
Yeah.
You're going to have to become elite. You're going to have to be hardened. You're going to have to develop a new mentality about the way you do things.
Yeah, those people are badasses.
Yeah. So you want to know, in my opinion, prior to all this nonsense, what the military did to help with these issues of weak people joining?
What they do?
They created the medical discharge or the honorable discharge. Ow, no, I can't. This hurts. Oh, cool. We'll just give you a discharge, buddy. But don't worry. We'll make it so you can still get a job out there. But you got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Now we're like, oh, did it? Oh, you know what? Not only are we sorry, we're going to talk to the rest of the guys and make sure that they understand how sensitive you are not to hurt you. Does that work? And that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
But now what's he going to do at war? And not only that, you think anyone on his team is going to trust him in combat to help them, to defend them? No, they're not. They're going to be like, I don't want to be with that guy. He's going to get me killed.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, definitely.
That's bad. A weakened military is our worst line of defense. Mm-hmm. And they're the people we put on the front line to defend this country. We haven't had to fight a war to defend this country because we were so powerful. Now we're living with the threat of having to defend this country.
In our land, too.
On our land. But because of how weak we are as a nation. And I don't care how you look at it. Everyone in the military knows that the president of the United States is the commander in chief.
Mm-hmm.
He is the top rank of the military. And if that dude's the weak link, everything else is going to fall with it.
Yeah.
And that's what we're witnessing.
That's a crazy one.
Your president, Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Yours.
Yeah. That was definitely a hard hitting topic. We talked about a lot of bodybuilding. Obviously, that's a lot of our forte, and a lot
that's
of
another thing we could bring up too, because that was a topic of discussion. We dabbled on the steroid use and the young people doing it, and a little bit on people dying, but several more people have passed since the last time we probably talked about that.
A lot of people. We've had at least 3 deaths,
and nobody wants to touch. And I know we are working on a podcast to bring someone on who's a little bit more knowledgeable, who's involved in the industry, but also understands from a medical standpoint and gets the gear and everything that's going on in this industry. No one wants to admit or address. So when somebody dies, and big names are dying right now, not that they're more important than anybody who dies in it, but when the big names are dying, there's attention on it, right? So now we're like, okay, this is weird. People are dying, and not just a bunch of nobodies that we don't know and never hear about. Like, big name people are dying.
Yeah, people's favorites.
What's going on? All of them so far, it's been some kind of a heart attack, right? But now we're supposed to believe that now, today, all of a sudden, steroids can kill you really fast.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that they don't, and I'm not saying that they're good for you. What I'm saying is that, like, Marshall Johnson said this to me: anything you do in excess is bad for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the problem. Excess is the problem with steroids.
Yeah.
These new generation of motherfuckers are overdoing it, for one. For two, I want to know why nobody wants to talk about vaccines when it comes to the bodybuilding culture.
Yeah.
Right? Most of us are running around with high hemoglobin and hematocrit already as it is, and have thick blood. Now, if you take something like the vaccine, which is already being noted for research that's been done, it thickens your blood, causes clots, myocarditis, and all that shit is happening. When we assume that's what's happening with bodybuilders, everyone's like, no, family PR comes out and says, stop speculating. It's none of the above. It wasn't because of what you heard, and we want peace. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, so you're not going to touch it at all. So we're not going to say, hey, with these mass amount of bodybuilders dying out of nowhere, we need to get to a safe space of understanding here. We're just going to completely write it off. The Federation won't even discuss it. They've never even put out any kind of mentions. They just say sorry to the loss of so-and-so, move forward. I know, and I will say for a fact, and I know this for a fact because multiple, when I say multiple, I'm probably on 2 handfuls of people now who have confirmed in the industry that there's been some type of mandate that if you want, not if you're a competitor or if you're an IFBB pro, but if you want to compete, step on stage as an IFBB pro, there's been a mandated vaccine. Now, if I was the IFBB and I mandated a vaccine to compete, and all those motherfuckers who were about to compete or prepping to compete died, I would hush the situation up right away.
Yeah.
And no, you notice how no bodybuilders that are in the Federation have talked about it?
None. Phil Heath, Kai Green, none of them.
They can't.
Yeah, that's what Cali Muscle was saying. He was like, "Where are you guys? Say something."
Don't get me started on him. He knows they can't.
He knows they can't. I was happy that he said something because everything he's been saying has irritated me so much.
Well, because he's trying to make people believe that bodybuilding is what's killing everybody.
Yeah.
And you have to explain before the last few years. Literally, Dallas McCarver, was a little further back, but he was a one-off.
Yeah,
and everyone knew he was excessive in his use.
Yeah,
he was open about it, bro. Same with Rich Piana. He was an advocate for excessive abuse and use of drugs and steroids.
Yeah, recreation.
So, but still, rest in peace to those dudes. It's not a
no
love lost or calling them anything bad. I'm just saying, short of those 2 guys, we've never seen bodybuilders die at this capacity.
No, not at all.
From bodybuilding, from using steroids, or as Cali Muscle wants you to believe, not from drinking fucking coffee grinds all the fucking time and eating
Mix
top
with
ramen,
Pepsi
which
and
is
Coke.
plastic that clogs your arteries because the body doesn't know how to process it.
Yeah.
Like the biome doesn't know what that shit is, bro.
Yeah.
So it stores it. It's just like, yeah, I don't know, put that shit aside and let's find the shit we recognize. Okay, that's how it works. This guy wants everyone to believe it's protein that gave him his heart attack.
Yeah.
And I know we had this conversation, but I'm gonna say it for the people. I strongly believe it's because he's trying to stay relevant. He's just talking out of his ass now.
Yeah.
He needs to make controversy because he's losing all his gains by the day. He's getting skinny and small and no muscle. He can't work out like he used to. He can't take nothing for it. He's scared.
And that's good that he's taking his health seriously enough to actually downsize.
But don't fuck everyone else over because of that fear factor, bro. Do some real digging research and have a fucking a genuine moment with yourself and say, you know what, I need to share with people
what's actually going on,
what I was doing.
Yeah, for real.
People need to know that I had all those fucking rope veins throughout my whole body because I was taking Tren and everything else with it. Let's just stop playing, bro. Stop telling everyone it's because you don't eat salt. That top ramen and fucking Coke and coffee were how you got that way.
Yeah.
No, bro, that's what gave you the heart attack.
And he marketed that to hundreds of thousands of people.
He turned it into a supplement and sold it, and then turning around and telling us,
don't drink protein,
but don't drink protein because that shit's garbage.
For real, you don't know what they put in it. Fucking, that's the craziest thing to me. I've never met him. Don't know him much. I did watch his videos when I was younger.
He was entertaining.
Yeah. But what a fucking fraud. What a fraud. I hate it so much.
It's a cop-out, bro. It's a major cop-out.
So much.
Especially because it's just to stay relevant. Because, look, we all seen it in the last couple of years. He's made money hand over foot.
Yeah.
Because he's been this jacked, freaky dude who people are entertained by. He's eating all these massive amounts of foods. He's doing all these YouTube videos just clowning around and buying stuff and spending money.
Cheetos,
you know what I mean? He's living that life, and now he's completely irrelevant, but I bet you he's got bills, expenses, all kinds of shit that he has to keep up with. So he's now saying, well, fuck, I can't lift weight. Imagine if you found out today you can no longer train.
Yeah.
That would fuck you up.
It would, bad.
Now imagine if you had his success and it was directly a result of your training.
Yeah.
And you were told you can't.
Yeah.
You'll die.
Yeah.
You've been a hood fool all your life, in and out of prison, in the gang scene, dreaming of the life you have now. Now you have it and you have a heart attack. He's trying to stay relevant.
He is, definitely.
And so he's misinforming people by trying to stay relevant because he wants the controversy. Me and you talking about it right now, we're putting his name out there. You know what I mean? And this is what he wants. So I don't think he's a good resource. I think he's bullshitting himself and people. But I don't think anyone else can actually talk about what's going on because they'll lose all their privilege to the Federation if they do, I believe.
For sure.
In fact, I'll say just out loud, Murray Calcutt was one of the first people that came out and said it, and he denounced his title to the IFBB before he said it because he basically had to.
He posted that on social media. We saw that.
And nobody fucking talked about it.
And now he's living like his ancestral life, I guess, out there.
Yep.
From what I've seen on his stories and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty dope.
Yeah. It's just crazy where we're at from where we've come and we can see kind of where we're headed. Shit's weird, bro.
Yeah, I know it'll become a little bit more irrelevant soon, so I'm gonna mention it here before we do this other podcast. But the one person I did enjoy listening to his rant on the subject matter was Seth Verosi, and he didn't talk about the vaccine or anything like that. But his realness is like we all are putting ourselves at risk when we're doing these things, and we understand that. We fully understand that. It's like someone who's smoking cigarettes all their life, they're going to smoke cigarettes, and you tell them to stop. Yeah, it's going to give you lung cancer. It's going to give you throat cancer. You're telling them that. They understand that. They understand there's risk. They're still going to smoke the cigarettes. They don't care. Or they care and they can't stop. Either or, they're going to do it. They'll most likely die from it. Are you going to be crying for them? Especially if you don't know them. You just know of them. Are you going to cry about it? Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not.
I watched that video too. You sent it to me.
Yeah.
And he made really, really good valid points and arguments about what the outcome could be.
Could be.
I don't think he made a good argument for that's definitely the consensus or the majority are.
Yeah, he made
dying.
it sound like he took 30 years off his life taking stuff. And I'm like, I mean, man, you're probably going to live pretty old.
And I could name a bunch of more people, bro, but let's just go to like, let's look at Lee Priest. Let's look at Lee Haney. Let's look at
freaking
Dexter Jackson. Let's look at all these dudes over 40 and 50 years old who retired from bodybuilding since.
Yeah.
And some even came back in their 50s and competed again. You know, like these guys are all still, the classic bodybuilders are still here, bro.
Yeah.
Why haven't they all died? They were taking steroids too and shortening their lifespans. You know what I mean? They're all still here. Motherfuckers that died were in their ranging from their like mid 20s to their like late 40s.
45, 48.
You know what I mean? These are all the dudes that have died recently. They were still actively bodybuilding. That's not normal. That hasn't always happened that way. You know, and granted, you can, yes, of course you can kill yourself if you're using it excessively and doing stuff you shouldn't be doing, taking, you know, compounds upon compounds and never coming off, never cycling, never cleansing, never resting the body. All those things, yes, absolutely. Yeah. You can do that with milk too.
Yeah.
You can do that with water.
You can do that with pop. We had diabetes fucking forever.
But so we can't blame bodybuilding. That's the one thing I want to say. And we could close on this one. Mm-hmm. But let's not blame bodybuilding as a death warrant. Let's just admit that the decisions we make around bodybuilding can lead to death.
Yeah. Without
a doubt. But bodybuilding itself isn't signing your death certificate. Yeah. And taking steroids, probably not either.
No. I do also have one more thing is like the people that do bodybuild competitively or even bodybuild in general are obviously, they have something about them that makes them want to do this torturous thing over and over again. You know, they're not right. And many of these individuals do see something coming before it happens. Yeah. Before the big thing happens. Yeah. You know,
and then they make decisions to not stop or keep going.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. They physically just can't stop. And it's not necessarily just an addiction to the drugs, but it's an addiction to this lifestyle, the money that they need to make in order to protect their family, you know? So, I mean, these people have much higher, they have things they have to be obligated for to do over just like, get off steroids, be healthy. Yeah, okay. How are they going to make their money like Kali Muscle, you know? So it's like, before people say, okay, bodybuilding is killing people, well, these people are going to do this damage to themselves no matter what, if there's bodybuilding or not. And they're going to make their money still because we have social media now. Yeah. And they still have to uphold that. So changing bodybuilding isn't really going to affect that. You know, people are still going to die the same way, you know? Yeah. But I don't know. It's interesting. It's people that bodybuild are fucked up in the head a lot of the time. So
I agree. I agree. And most of them will admit that openly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. It was a rant.
It is.
It's just a rant. We wanted to get something out. Missed everything that's going on, and a rant is what you guys got because that's all we have in us right now. But we're working on a guest that we can get on to have a real discussion about some real serious shit. And we just didn't want to leave you guys hanging for an entire month without dropping an episode. So this is the episode you guys are getting for now. And we're just talking some shit, so you don't have to call it great or bullshit us about it. But you can definitely make it get more views than Cody's, and that would be pretty fucking.
That
funny.
Would be funny.
But yeah, man, just kind of a quick review of everything we've kind of talked about, went over, and just some one-on-one time for me and Dion because we haven't done that in a long time.
That was good.
And we might get another one in, and that'll be a little bit more prepared for. And before we get our next guest on, potentially. Otherwise, we'll have our next guest on real soon. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But otherwise, thank you.
Yeah, this has been fun.
We appreciate the support we've gotten thus far. Like I said, over 100 subscribers. Videos are getting pretty good views on them, and we continue to promote and market this the best way we can and get people to share it. It's been great. So thank you. Don't forget to like, support, share, tell your friends about us, good or bad, doesn't matter. We want to hear it, see it, and we'll talk about it when we do.
Yeah, and if you guys have any recommendations for anything you guys would like to see, definitely shoot it down in the comments below. Message us, DM us on social medias. The social medias will be down below in the link. So
dope. Thanks again for all your support. We'll talk to you guys soon. We are out.
Thank you.